In this video I would like to install FreeBSD version 1.0. This was the very first FreeBSD version that was ever released. The FreeBSD operating system is based on the 386 BSD from William Jolitz and Lynne Jolitz. In order to install FreeBSD 1.0, we are going to need a couple of things that I've prepared already. Here in the folder I have some CD-ROM that I've downloaded, some floppies, and a directory I call HDD, which is to create the hard disks. The very first release of FreeBSD did not support so much hardware, and this means that we'll have to use a couple of tricks. One of the tricks they're going to use is that we're going to need another version of FreeBSD to complete the installation of the version 1. In the CD-ROM directory, you can see I have two ISO files corresponding to two CDs, the first one being for the FreeBSD version 1, and the second ISO file is for FreeBSD 3.3, the first disk out of 4 that I've downloaded from the archive.org. I'm going to install the FreeBSD system on a machine using PCEM. In the last video, I've shown you how to fix and compile PCEM. In the meantime, I've also fixed the latest version. It's no longer version 17, but it's still not version 18, but it's what will become version 18. And you can get this version also for FreeBSD with the following command: git clone https github.com source code, one of my handles, yes, and pcem.git. I've made it really simple for you to compile in FreeBSD. So let's go to the directory let's go to the directory PCM, and now let's not take the version on the main branch, that's version 17, let's take the latest. For that we need to git checkout latest, and now it uses a cmake to create a make files, cmake -g unix make files, and cmake build type is going to be a release version on the current directory, and gmake for 8 cores. So let's start PCM. Under source it's a PCM. Beauty. Let's create our first system. Is going to be an MS-DOS system. So I'm going to create an MS-DOS virtual machine. The first thing we're going to need to do is to configure the BIOS. So let's quickly boot here, select the machine and click on delete. And here on the standard MS-DOS, so we have something from before, let's do an auto detection. Do not select the LBA mode, select the normal mode. For this one, just leave it with the normal thing, so automatic is okay. Actually, I'm going to make the booting a little bit faster. I'm going to say none. The BIOS anyways doesn't detect the CD-ROM. And here looks fine. BIOS, we need to make sure that first we boot from the A disk and then from C. A little bit, it's just to boot to create some floppies. We don't really need to go very wild on this. Okay, let me make here a little bit bigger so you can see. So here in the video we can do an output scale to 2 times. Now you can see it a little bit better, the machine. And it says boot failure because we have an empty hard disk without any floppy installed. So right click, disk, change drive A, And here we have in our floppies we have the disk 1 for MS-DOS, and we can either press enter or right click, Control Alt Delete. I'm just going to press enter. It's going to boot to MS-DOS, and I'm going to perform an installation of MS-DOS. Okay, let's do this. So now it has installed the operating system. I remove the disk, eject drive A, and click enter to reboot. And the system is properly installed, but there is no drive D. The CD-ROM is not working. We need to make it work now. For that we need to install some drivers. Here is a website where you can download it from the DOS days. So here you download the file and you open this file. So let me show you this. I've already downloaded the file. So I have under files, I have the files already. I downloaded the zip file and I have the sys. This is the device driver. The main issue that you see here is that this device driver is a single file and it's not a floppy image. Or the question is, how do we get this device driver into the virtual machine? A good way to do this is to create a floppy disk, copy the files into the floppy disk, and then mount the floppy disk in the machine. Let's do that. So here in the machine I right click and I say disk, create a blank disk. I'm going to create a 1.44 megabytes. I had already done this before, but I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to call it drivers.image, replace, okay, and change drive A. Go to the floppies and the drivers. The first thing we need to do is format drive A unconditional. Format is now complete. We can select the volume. Just press enter. It's fine. Format another one. No. Here on drive A, it's empty. There is nothing there. Eject drive A. So let's do the mount, let's do the copy, and let's do the sync and the unmount and the delete 0. Now we're going to change drive A and get the floppies, open tier A, and now the file is inside. Now what we're going to do is copy a oak cd-rom.sys to C, and we're going to edit the config.sys, and here we need device C oak cd-rom.sys, and the option was /t mscd001. Save and edit autoexec.bat, and at the end we're going to call dos mscdex.exe. The parameters was the mscd001, 10 sectors for buffer, and the drive letter was D. before I forget, I always tend to forget this, let's eject the drive and reboot the computer. Control Alt Delete, the 3-finger salute. And now we see that the system is stuck here. It took me a little bit of time to figure out the problem. The thing is that in the emulator, if you don't have a CD-ROM inserted, it's going to get stuck here. So I'm going just to the CD-ROM and I'm going to load an image. And I'm going to load an image from the FreeBSD 1.0, and it continued. Okay, so now if we go to drive D, we can see this is the CD-ROM for the FreeBSD 1.0, and we have the floppies here. We have a README support, so edit readme.txt. So here lots of things to read. The floppies, the installation floppies. We could have the CD install. This would be really good if we could just do a CD installation, but I could not make it work, so this is why we need to do it a little bit more contrived, more complex. So we need to go to the floppies directory, and we have here a couple of floppies. We have the kernel copy AH, the kernel copy BT, the file system floppy, and the CPIO floppy drive. They look like 1.2 megabytes. They will write into 1.44. Let's see the finstall.txt. To install FreeBSD, you will need 3 floppies. And here, if you're disk controller, we have an IDE disk. It's our controller, so we're going to use the kernel copy ah.flp, the floppy. And insert boot floppy, then you need the file system. You can read this here. So and then after you're going to need the CPIO. So the point being that we need 3 floppies: the kernel copy, the file system, and the CPIO. In case we would select a bus stack or an alter store disk controller, then we would need the kcopy BT. We currently don't have that, so we don't really need this. Here there are some tools. So we have the raw write for floppy disks, and this is the program that we're going to use to create our floppy drives. So let's start creating them. So disk, we're going to create a blank disk 1.44, and here in our floppies I'm going to say FBSD 1 kcopy ah.emg. This is going to be our first floppy disk, and let's see, we have the kcopy ah. So I'm going to mount this disk, change drive A, FreeBSD, floppies, the FreeBSD version 1 kcopy ah image, open, it's inserted, and then tools, raw write. I want to create the kcopy ah.flp, and it's inserted in the drive A. Press enter, writing the floppy. So we have now created 5 floppy disks, 3 for FreeBSD 1.0 and 2 floppy disks for FreeBSD 3.3, and we're ready to go. So the first thing I will do is I'm going to eject this floppy. I'm going to eject the CD-ROM, empty, and I'm going to power down the machine. By then you didn't really have a halt or so, you had a switch button, power on or off. So power off. Bam, let's go. So welcome back. I had quite a lot of pain until now. One of the things that I found, and as a lesson learned, so that if you try to reproduce this, you're not falling into the same mistake, is that for whatever reason, sometimes the floppies that you created on MS-DOS, they get bad, and you'd have to recreate the floppies in MS-DOS. Or the other possibility that you can do is, which is what I've done now, I recreated the floppies, and I created another directory where I put original versions, and if I think that I need it again, then I'm just going to fetch them from there without the need to recreate them. This is one thing. And the other thing is, you need to be really careful when you're booting the system, whether you're pressing the carriage return or pressing the letter A, etc. Let's try to do this slowly. So again, see, since I did quite some experiments before, I'm going to try going to look again at the configuration of the machine. So this is a 486, 66 MHz with a word sys, 32 MB, video VGA, no sound, storage device. I'm going to recreate the storage device, replace, and 2048. I'm going to go for a large disk, 2 GB. Actually, to make sure that this is correct, I'm going to delete this disk, and I'm going to recreate it. Just to make sure that there are no leftovers from before. HDD here, 2048 in size. Okay. Devices, LPT, mouse, network. This time I will be adventurous, and I will put an NE2000 with an IRQ5. Crossing the fingers. Put. First thing, we need to go to the BIOS and do a detection. Here I will try the normal mode. BIOS, again, this thing here looks good. Chipset features, I didn't really go for any of these things before. PCI IDA configuration. But we are going to go with it. Going to put the first disk for the FreeBSD. Floppies, now it's called, I just named it like this, the K-Copy AH. Yes. Let's put the machine. Here, do not press enter, that's on a later stage. So it's good to read everything very carefully. Insert file system floppy in drive A, so the file system floppy. Change, and this is the file system floppy. And press A. It's in drive A, we press A. So it continues from here. Let's see, it detected the network card on IRQ5 and E2000. Looks good. Okay, so proceed with installation, yes. take a little bit of time. It's a hard disk connected to the IDE interface. Yes. It's on the WD0. I take the default thing, so I just press enter here. Number of bytes per sector, 512. Here. There is a warning on some hardware. This prevents from sharing. Install on the entire disk over it. Yes, I want to install it on the entire disk. Yeah. So here it should be fine. Root 30, which block? Number 2. In terms of cylinder 68, next partition size. On user, make this accessible. Appears to be an MS-DOS file. No, I don't want to make this accessible. Verbose installation, no. And let's go for it. Here we go. Now it's copying some files from the floppy to the disk. Okay, operation timeout. I'm going to ignore this now. Next step, copy the kernel. So, and finally reboot to the hard disk. So, type in halt now. We type halt without removing the floppy. So once this is announced that it has halted, remove the floppy and insert the kernel copy. Press any key. When prompted to the just hit return. So disk. We are going to change it to the kernel. Insert the kernel copy. And then just press return without changing the floppies. And now, don't forget, you don't press A or B or something, you just press enter or return. And we come to the prompt, copy. We select WD0A. Checking bed blocks, etc. Looks good. For now, time to reboot the machine. Once the machine has halted, I'll tell you when, remove the floppy from the disk and press any key to remove. Okay, just halting the machine. Okay, now it's halted. So eject drive, so the disk, there is nothing there, and press any key to reboot. The instructions are very clearly written, and if you deviate a little bit from the instructions, you're going to experience pain. Let's see if the system comes back to life. So insert the CPIO, so change drive A. We need to put CPIO on the floppies. It's the CPIO image. Enter. Verbose no. Copying to disk. Segmentation fault core dumped. That does not look good. But I'm going to ignore it. Halt. Remove the floppy. Okay, good. The above errors are expected. So it does an automatic file system check. Does a reboot. I think the system is now starting to come back to life. It has been painful until now, but it's kind of going. All right, segmentation fault again. The system is struggling. FreeBSD based system release 1.0. Congratulations, you've got FreeBSD on the hard disk. Oh, thank you. Press return for more installation instructions. To finish installation, pick a temporary directory, etc. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Now it comes to the point that we have some issues here, because the system is not recognizing the CD-ROM, and we cannot easily, I didn't find an easy way to make network working. Maybe I find this afterwards, but that would be for another video, because if config ed1, it's actually there. I could do an if config ed1 192.168 number 2 with 144. I don't know, I'm just putting random data there. If config, I don't even know. If config ed1, yeah, okay, the net mask is already correct. Let's just try this, maybe it works. Root add default 192.168.2.1. Let's just try ping. And here we start with the first problem. Ping is not working. So I'm not going to push this further. I'm just going to hold the machine. It's probably, I can probably make the network interface working, but for now I'm just going to install the software that it's required. So to make the, not that it's required, to install the software that is going to make the machine happy. It's really bare bones now. So we have a 2 GB disk now, and the first thing that is going to happen is, because I'm a chicken, I'm going to copy this into the original. So this is okay, copy this into an original. If anything goes wrong, I still have my disk, I can get it back. So no one takes the disk from me. The other issue is that we cannot really mount this. Let's try to do it. Maybe we don't really need the FreeBSD 3.3. So mdconfig with this file, md0, fdisk on md0 tells me that there is a here partition 4. Can I mount this? Mount dev md0. The partitions are not coming out. So this is already a first issue, that I should be seeing a couple of devices that have been, that would be created here, and I don't see them. So it's not possible to do this. Okay, yeah, let's mdconfig delete u0. Let's try to do in another way, which is going to be, I'm going to install another FreeBSD operating system. FreeBSD 3.3, let's just call it like this. The configuration is going to be similar or very similar, except that the disk here it's going to be FreeBSD 33. It's going to be again the same size, 2048. Okay. Here, none here. Okay, looks good. Crossing fingers, and let's put the damn thing. Here. So yeah, I thought so. So auto detection, let's put this into the normal mode. It's another machine, so here looks good. This is 1.44. You remember we created other boot disks, right? We created other boot disks for this machine here. Disk change, let's get those ones. So it's the kernel and the root. The kernel is the first one. Let's get it and let's try to install this disk. Actually, let me power down the machine and let me think a little. For this one I'm going to actually to add the CD. Storage, going to put it here. I'm going to put a CD. Okay, putting the machine. Hopefully I don't need it, but if I'm not mistaken, the 3.3 version was more happy with the CD. It can cope with it. I created these floppies before and I saved them. Let's see if it goes through this time. Yeah, it seems so. These are bad floppies. Don't tell me why, but I can, afterwards I can post the floppies if anyone wants to try this out. They can use the original floppies that I have. In the meantime, let's add the CD-ROM, load the image, and let's put 3.3 just in case. Okay, and any other key, hit enter to boot immediately. So this is a slightly different thing. Here I'm going to skip the kernel configuration. It should be fine. Let me see if it detects the ED1 in the IRQ5. So it detects our disk with 2 GB in size. Until now it's looking good. All right. And we're in. So the F looks good. In this case, let's see the mask. Okay, I like bash because I can use my tab, the tab key. So dmask pipe less was not existing, but there is more. And I suspect that there is a WD1. There it is, which is the second disk. And this is the one I need to use. So fdisk WD1. It tells me that we have the correct disk here. So let's try to mount dev WD1, And if I'm not mistaken, it was the LED1E, the partition E into /mnt. Okay, fsck dev wd1e. Now it looks like it's clean. And can we mount it? Now this is the decisive point. Yes, we can. The other thing is mkdir/cd-rom. Oh, it exists. cd-rom. Okay. Mount slash what are the types? Mount cd dev ada acd acd0 a/cd-rom cd-rom. Yeah, it worked, but it's the wrong cd-rom. I'm seeing too many things. Mount /dev acda0a, and we need to change the cd-rom, load the image of the first release. Now it's there. Let's try to mount it again. Does it work? df cd-rom. Okay, it complained a little bit, but it seems that it installed. cd-rom, and we have the tarballs. The tarballs are the ones that we are going to need. df, so df I'm just going to go to /mnt and create a directory that I'm going to call install media. See, big capital letters, and cp-r/cd-rom. And we're going to need the packages. Let's first do the tarballs. That's the most important thing. The floppies, we used them already. The packages we copied, the ports we copied, port source we copied, tarballs we copied, and the tools are MS-DOS tools, so we don't really need them. Sync and unmount wd1e, unmount dev acd0a. Before anything else, I'm going to again go to the HDD folder. So we had a copy right after installing with the floppies, and this is just the most basic system. And now what I want to do is install media. This is like doing snapshots on VirtualBox. I have my snapshots after installing the most base system with the install media inside, and now we're going to finalize the installation of the operating system. For that, we're going to come here to FreeBSD 1, start the machine. It has been an experience until now. Painful, but an experience nonetheless. So we are in the hard disk. And the first thing that we're going to go to, the first directory is going to be to the tarballs, the binary distribution, and extract, extract.sh. Cross your fingers. One is down, one is done. Let's go for the next one. OPG distribution, the object distribution, and xh extract.sh. This is done. Let's go to the source distribution and sh extract.sh. Okay, now what else do we need? Let's go to the x386 extract.sh. Alright, and we only need to install the last one, which is the X3 src. Extract.sh. All right, I think it's everything seems to be there. Only thing that I'll have left is to synchronize and shut down. Operating system halted, so what I'm going to do is to again do my copy. Terminal type. Now it looks a little bit different. Can we have bash? Command not found. But now we have, finally we have our FreeBSD system, which is installed. I don't need this file, unmount.core. umount.core. Core files are not really needed. And that's it. uname -a FreeBSD version 1.0.2 running on a 486 CPU. It's currently using about 600 megabytes. This video has become too long. It has been a bumpy road, but we are finally there. I managed to install the operating system. It's working, looks good. Tools are there. ifconfig, ed1. I could now do more things, like exploring the software that's installed inside the machine. Before I finish the video, let me just try to see if Vim is installed, my favorite text editor. Command not found. And what about VI? VI is installed. If I'm not mistaken, this is not exactly VI, this is Elvis, because of the colors below there. Let's see, Elvis. Yes, it's Elvis. But it's already a VI editor, which I'm already good and comfortable with. As I said, this has been a really bumpy road, but we have arrived to the point where we would like, which is to install the operating system. This video is now quite long, so I'm going to stop for now here. If you'd like me to explore the operating system and to show you, please give a like, some comments below. That really makes my day. That is the motivation for doing the videos, likes and comments. And if I have enough of those, then I will be exploring the system further, trying to install some software, maybe try to compile the kernel, and etc. But for now, you have seen how it can be done. If you'd like, you can reproduce things by yourself. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye.